we're back with part 2 of this week's Melbourne Pro Punters panel. Darren Potter, Mark Roden, I'm Anthony Jupp. You can head to 1 to follow. You can grab the full sets for the Saturdays and the Wednesdays for both guys. Well worth jumping on. Also,
you doing Wednesdays?
Not yet. No, we're doing Saturdays only with the odd complimentary midweek service. Did Anzac Day, did the Skate Cup only on Friday. That's been for free. At this stage, it's Saturdays only, but if the interest is there, we will certainly.
Well, I've just announced that inadvertently. Yeah. So, and also with the good racing in Adelaide and Brisbane, you can grab Johnny McLeod stuff for Brisbane. Aaron Barbie does a great job over there in Adelaide. Make sure you head to 1 to follow, and if you're really battling for tips, you can even go and get. Well, Brendan Richards sent out 4 bets for the NRL on the weekend, and they all copped. And
2 for 2, Juppy.
The little battler sent out a couple there, including the Blue Boys, who managed to cover the line. So
you never look like getting beat, actually, in either game, really.
Well, it was due. Boys, the budget. The budget was on last week. Yes.
Okay.
Well, normally the only politics we get into here, Pods, is me just barrelling Daniel Andrews about the state of the fucking roads. Now I can't get anywhere. But there was an interesting little tidbit that we've been discussing for some time, I know, and he gets his obligatory mention. Hello, Nathan. Snowy said, why don't we have a tax on breeders? Well, it appears ScoMo was listening, because now there is a $10 a head horse coupling tax. So every time you join a thoroughbred, there is a $10 tax that goes to the government.
What do you mean?
Coupling.
Well, do you want...
Was that a
Right, okay.
Yes, so there is a new horse coupling tax. That's in the budget, so all the breeders will be snipped $10 for each time they join a man.
$10 isn't a lot when there's, service fee might be 300,000.
No, but when you think about it, when you think about how many yearlings come through, and it's not just the yearlings, like that include any like stillborns, ones that don't make it, all those.
Is it
every covering? Yeah.
That's covering all breeds of horse, not just thoroughbreds, or?
I haven't gone completely through the budget yet. I'll get back to that. I'll get on to ScoMo. We'll find out.
Oh, okay.
But
get him on the show.
Well, at least he'd get a positive if he came on here. So that's at least they're starting to tax the breeders. It's a bit of an idea that, well, all the punters have had for a while. We seem to be the only one that pay tax in the industry. So it's good to see that they're finally getting onto the breeders. And speaking of the filthy breeders, they had their big hoedown up there at Scone over the 2 days.
The biggest prize money race is 3 old guineas.
Yeah.
It's not mentioned anywhere. That's a sales restricted race.
No.
That is, I was watching the Golden Gates. I was actually watching just Sky One. I wasn't watching the other channel. Tony Russell's giving his tips, and he says, "Oh, well, you put up that sort of prize money, you're going to get a good field. That's quite ordinary field.
Yeah.
It's sales restricted. I mean, no one mentions it." Yeah.
In saying that, though, there were plenty of the Tabcorp / Sky team that did have a real good jolly up there. So it was good for those guys. Yeah. Like when the Racing.com guys had down at Warrnambool the week before. It's like the track's probably okay for it, but facilities-wise, talking to the people that go there, it's not unbelievable.
My memory of doing the form for those 2 days is that it's laced with danger. A lot of country stables that horses seem to have significant spikes.
Big maidens and all that sort of stuff, which is always a...
So how was it this year? I didn't really...
Personally, I won Friday and pretty much gave it back Saturday. Thinking of renaming my service or subtitling it the 25 and 33 to 1 place getters special service, but had a few of them lately. Just need 1 to lob.
Well, that's a matter of time.
Well, it's a matter of time, and they're only small unit bets, a lot of them. But I'll think about whether I should. I mean, in your own service, do you ever recommend place or each way?
Yep.
Yeah. So
nearly every time I tip one that's out of the market, I have a bigger place bet.
Yeah. Well, this is it. I mean, I've only been doing this a month, and you mentioned yourself about doing your research on this time of year where you struggled last year. Well, I think there's been about 4 in the last week at 21 or better on second. I mean, I only tipped on the Cup on Friday and Volts in him second at 21 was one of the 2 I gave out. Serene Majesty in the big mares race on Saturday flew home for 3rd, beaten half length, $9.70 on the tote, the drum. I've really got to be recommending something that plays an horse at that price, I think.
Yeah. And there's also plenty of people that would be getting the set that would be looking at that and would be doing the same. You mentioned a bloke like Rexy. I'm sure he'd be handling something like that if it's a big price too.
Well, if I ever neglect to recommend a place bet on the set, Rexy takes care of it because he's a very clever punter.
That's right. Yes,
And,
right.
you know, like, it's about what the dividend is. You know what I mean?
That's right. Absolutely. Yeah.
You know,
It's
if
still
you can have a bet and the dividend's $9.70.
I mean,
that's just a great dividend.
if you can find an 8-1 winner, you're
Yeah.
laughing. You know, so 9.70 in the place. You've got to, well, hopefully the subscribers have been smarter than I was in my recommendations.
In the end, it's about recommending bets
Yeah.
that
Not necessarily
positive
knowing
expectation
the winner.
bets.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
you're taking a better price than
It should be.
than
Yeah.
what it should be. And it doesn't matter whether it's a dividend for the place or anyway. So, and there's often more fat in the horses out of the market.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
why I always recommend a place bet.
You know, a lot of these horses, if they're 20, 25 to 1, they're probably far more likely to run a place than win. You know what I mean? They're far more likely to run second or third. You know, with a favourite, say they've money chance, it's far more likely to win than run second or third.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
33 to 1 chance, it's far more likely to run second or third than win. So you've got to take that into account.
And the market's far less likely to get the horses in the market drastically wrong.
That's right.
There's the odd one that'll, because I don't go looking for those horses. They just happen to find me every now and then.
Yeah, I understand.
And I think, you know, the people that have been getting my service from Tom, I think would say I've got a good record. When I do find one out of the market, they run well.
Yeah.
So,
Well, might have been running. Well, most of them have been running quite well. Just haven't hit the wire, but you know, it's like we did. I recommended Ozark. It was $10 all morning. When I was typing up the set, it was $10. By the time I got around to setting it, was into 9, and I sent it, and I reckon 15 minutes later, it was in about 460 across the board. So hopefully, it got out in time to the.
It's funny you say that because it flows on to the next thing that I was going to bring up was in the interim they've put the Dazzler in charge at Godolphin, and he came on the radio and said Ozark's probably the best for the weekend, and it was $9 when he tipped it.
Yeah.
So
no, there was $9 and $10 for whatever you wanted up until it was 20 past 11. It was one of those all at once.
Yeah, it was big teams. Yeah,
went crunch. And he didn't actually get much. I think he started about that. You know, so he always, I wanted them to get back out, but this one didn't, and got the money.
So the cherry picker's been whinging that the job at Godolphin's too big for one person to do. Everyone else has been arguing with him, saying, "Well, it works in Europe." Granted, it was the two Snowdens that.
I just think it's like, what would he know? Well, seriously, I mean, honestly, I suppose everyone's entitled to an opinion, but like, I'm sure Henry Plumtree is paying close attention to your advice, Matt.
But the Dazzler's in there. He's worked in that system for a hell of a long time. Like when you think about it, he was riding for Woodlands and when they were at their height, and then he's been in there and he's seen how to do it and tweak things. But as you mentioned, you were going to mention Potts. They haven't trained a winner down here for a while.
No, the team down here hasn't. They're not a factor really at the moment. So that's sort of, you know,
that thing that had been racing down here walked in Brisbane.
Maternal.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that was probably the last Metro winner they trained here. You know, they bolted in down here and missed the target in Sydney, then went up to Brisbane and won.
It's an interesting one. I mean, Beaver's just started, with a win on every foot.
Well, he is placed.
Obviously, but the thing about the job would, I know nothing about it. I'm just, this is an outside perspective, but you'd have to be available 24/7. You know what I mean? It would wear you down. I can see why O'Shea probably got sick of it. Probably made a good chunk of money out of it, and he's just been, probably wanting down.
Enough to refund the whip round that we had.
Yeah.
I would say that Godolphin have got a good record of plucking people from obscurity. I don't think Charlie Appleby was on. I wouldn't know, but and everyone's lips in Europe when they plucked him, and they had that issue with their prior trainer. So best left to them. I think they know what's good for their own organisation, and they probably don't need a lot of advice, really.
Well, they get another uptick this weekend with the Doyle back. James Doyle's back from his hand injury, so he'll be back, and I think that's a big tick up for him. But I know Brenton's been doing a bit of riding for him, and there's been a few others.
They've been using everyone, Ty England and Clark and everyone. Yeah.
So it certainly looks like there's a little bit of a, whether it's just the enthusiasm of the staff or what's happened, there just seems to be a little bit more life in the joint than what there had been, because
I suppose if the boss was struggling and it was wearing him down, that would in some ways filter through, wouldn't it?
And everyone's sort of said, like,
I've worked in organisations big organisations where you really have no contact with the CEO, right?
Yeah.
Or very little. And we've gone from a good CEO to a really bad one, and it destroys the morale of the whole company.
Yeah.
It's very odd how it trickles down. So Now, whether I've got no idea how good or bad a job John O'Shea was doing, I don't know. But it wouldn't surprise me if they do get an uptick if the morale of the staff is lifted across the board.
Yeah. Well, clearly there were issues with the stable down here. Because as you said, he was just a complete non-event. Like, how many winners did David Charles actually train down here? Like, I don't even know whether...
They've been few and far between, really, in the last...
Well, Appleby's probably trained more winners down here than ours.
Possibly, yeah.
So, it's interesting to see what's going... Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens going forward, especially up there. Up there in Sydney. I know it's given these Sydney tracks a rest, but do we really need like Hawkesbury? Like at least Scone's like a reasonably fair track.
Yeah,
but the facilities aren't there, and then you got Hawkesbury where it's unwatchable.
Well, it's unwatchable, but I think I'm the only person who bets on New South Wales racing that actually doesn't mind Hawkesbury. I don't mind it. We had a winning day there on the big day there. Scone, yeah. It's a good, big, fair track. 16 races in 2 days is about its limit.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't that wet, and it wasn't that biased or anything like that, but it was testing and chopped up a bit, 16 races in. And 2 days, that's going. Do you reckon a bit much?
I do.
Yeah.
The thing is, I would nearly prefer, I don't know how closely you looked at Wagga.
Yeah.
But that carnival to me, especially with the tradition of like the town plate and the cup and that, I think that'd nearly be, and that track too is another big wide track, and they get a massive crowd there because you'd also get people from the south going up there. I think but you're not at the heart of the breeding.
But the problem is that they get a lot more people going to the meeting on Friday than they do on Saturday, right? Because that's all the locals go to the cup meeting.
Yeah, right.
And if it was on Saturday, they wouldn't go.
Yeah.
They all have the day off and they all go Friday. So, you know, I suppose that's better than any other meeting they could put on anywhere else Friday. Yeah. It's a matter of whether you also have the standalone Saturday.
That's the thing. I mean,
I don't think, generally speaking, I doubt that punters, you know, particularly recreational punters, would be all that excited by.
They wouldn't be. And yeah, I mean, why not have Thursday, Friday? I mean, it's not going to hurt attendances, obviously. You know, people are going to make a decision to go, they're going to go whatever day it's on. And it's a bloody long way from Sydney, but for a standalone, New South Wales meeting. It's, you know, like Hawkesbury's only an hour or so. So it's going a long way. So it's
3 hours.
You know, it'd be like having a standalone at Mildura or something.
Oh fuck, I'm not going to. No way, he's got life. After getting handled by the cab driver.
I think Warrnambool
is a
great example of a midweek carnival that works really well. I think it's going to be better off with a midweek situation because they don't really need all the people that go because it's a Saturday Metro meeting or a placement of a Saturday Metro meeting. If you withdrew them people, it wouldn't really matter.
No, that's right.
And they'd still get all the breeders and the people that surround that group, and all the locals would still go to the cup meeting. So it'd be a bit more like Warrnambool, you know, if they had a 2-day midweek meeting. But anyway, whatever.
The issue of giving the Metro tracks a rest is a good one, but if they had 4 tracks of decent standard, it wouldn't be an issue. Or 5, they should have Kenzo as well. So they should have 5 good standard tracks, and they've really got 1.5 or 2. You know, so.
Well, I've got a unit available if they want to dig Canterbury up and move it to Kenzo. I'm happy to come and give them a man.
That's the thing, they want to sell Canterbury. It is the best surface.
Oh, and everyone loves betting on it.
Yeah.
I heard the cherry picker say on radio this morning that Chris Waller was refusing point blank to bring Winks to Melbourne because the tracks at Caulfield and Punters too firm. Honestly.
He said rather run on a heavy 8 in Sydney.
Well, where's he going to run her at? Well, run her in Sydney then.
Well, no, I'm just going to put it out.
Win the Cox Plate in Sydney.
No.
Marty Simon, just turn the taps off from now until Cox Plate day. And if it's put up a good 2 on Cox Plate morning and see if she runs.
The tracks out here recently have been perfect. The track at Caulfield on Saturday was perfect. There's barely a horse. I think Kendrick might be the only horse in the whole program that's pulled up. Saw it anyway.
But he goes around every other week.
Yeah.
He's not a young horse.
Well, he's a borderline Garner Canal.
It is amazing how Caulfield races. I mean, it's had a lot of traffic. This time of year, there hasn't been a lot of rain, but every morning it's freezing. You have heat every morning.
Tell me about it.
Yeah. So for that track to race, be a good 3 before the first is just incredible.
And he's doing a good job. Like, there's no growth at this time of year. It's not warm enough.
Look, I mean, Matt, why don't you ring Jason Kerr and ask him, okay? He measures the moisture content, like, fastidiously.
Yeah.
Like, how'd I go there? Did I get that out?
Fastidiously.
I tried, I got close.
You did anyway. Okay.
And the moisture content there on Saturday was well and truly at a level where, over a level where it would be concerning for Jason.
Yeah.
So don't worry, Matt. Any of the trainers that were whinging to you on Saturday, they were just having a whinge, trying to make an excuse for their horse that didn't win. Okay, so just don't take those things too seriously. Take them with a grain of salt.
Were they some of the trainers that would have tipped those horses on the radio show in the morning?
Yeah, probably.
Speaking of tracks though that actually do have some issues, Eagle Farm, I don't know whether you guys have watched any Brisbane racing lately, but I think what they've done is they've put a Pakenham or a Moonee Valley style track there where it's just going to race brilliantly through summer, but if you get any rain on it, those routes aren't going to go down because they don't need to because it's the sand pot, so it's just very shifty apparently, and I'm not sure what they can do about it apart from either just race in the summertime or...
That's pretty average though. I mean, the amount of money and time they spent on getting it right,
and the one across the road that's been absolutely abused is racing 10 times
Can you
better.
imagine what do they call these days? Brisbane Racing. What's their thing?
What, the Brisbane Racing Club?
Queensland Racing.
Oh, Racing Queensland.
Racing Queensland.
Yeah.
What would Racing Queensland do to have Caulfield at Eagle Farm?
Yeah.
And we've got the chief racing rider for the Herald Sun somehow criticising that track on Saturday, or providing a mouthpiece to the trainers that want to criticise it anonymously.
It's,
Dear, oh dear.
I know they've got a different climate up there, but it just appears that unless it's either complete deluge and then it drains, or it's warm and you just throw it on the top and it spreads out.
Well, after watching some of the racing in Sydney over the autumn, and then what I have seen in Brisbane, I just think that the punters in Melbourne are completely blessed by the tracks that we have here and the people that look after them, that don't get nearly the amount of credit they deserve.
And I tell you know who else you can throw into that category too? Perth. Those tracks front up twice a week for 6 months and do a magnificent job. And even poor old Morpheville and the Parks track that get flogged, they still race with minimal bias. Like a lot of it's just topography based, like that Parks is a tight track, it's an inner track, it's like the synthetic at Geelong. That's what you're going to get with those sort of tight tracks, it's going to be the leaders track, but like they don't have the resources of probably what Brisbane and what Sydney do, but they seem to have the issues with bias and problem tracks, and these guys are the battlers doing their best.
Yeah, I haven't even mentioned Fanny Bay. I race every week. It's fantastic.
And well, there's another thing that's not too far away.
Oh yeah, August, yeah.
Might actually get out of the cold weather and go up there. Might have to come out of retirement for it. Anything else, boys?
No?
We got a coming winner for
Well,
us?
I mentioned Kalani.
Kalani Kid will win a same race to win.
Once he gets to 2,000 metres, for sure.
Oh, one of the funnier tweets that I've seen lately goes to... He got me at Warrnambool, our friend Osbet.
Oh yeah.
Right. Not only did all three of his horses manage to get beat on the Thursday, but he also managed to find $1.70 pop at Rockhampton that he backed with me that won. Only bet didn't see him again after he collected, so well done Ozzy. But after it came out that Novak Djokovic was sacking his camp, his reply was send him to win. Well, improving 6 lengths.
Also, on short notice, Juppy, there was a maiden that won at Bairnsdale of Kieran Mars called Bar Cheetah.
Okay.
Did a particularly good job. So,
That was on Sunday, wasn't it?
Sunday, yes, it was.
Yep.
May 7, should have won by a lot further.
A coming loser, one for the sack book from Scone on Friday. Got top odds. It's well back favourite Star Reflection for Chris Lees, given every conceivable chance. Put there to win and then just lay in like a complete matter cat. Refused to go past, so I will not be forgetting that next time in Griffiths.
Okay, and we're going to come back with parts 3 through 9 as Rat and I discuss the issues around the curse of the Richmond Football Club. We've already had an hour and 45-minute conversation with Mickey Harrick about this, well versed. It really does test the character of being a Richmond supporter, doesn't it?
Mate, I'd feel a lot worse if I hadn't seen it 500 times
Yes.
before. I mean, that's all I can say about it.
And the good part about it is that everyone will still front up next week.
Oh, yeah.
They'll be there.
Someone else at the start of the year, round now, you're
5-3,
you'd be really happy. You'd be
You take
delighted.
it.
So you just got to not.
But you could also be pretty confident that 2 of the 3 losses would have been by under a kick in the last minute. Yeah, that'd be.
Well, I had a bad beat the week before when who was it? Was it Buddy who kicked 2 goals in the last 53 seconds to smash the line?
Yeah.
It's all good. That's the joys of the punters. So thank you for joining us. We'll be back at some
Before we
stage.
go, just mention that those guys that do get my midweek set.
Oh yes.
The sale meeting's not bad this week. I'll be doing at least 6 races there from sale.
Well, there you go. There's a nice big. In fact, that'd be the equivalent of having the Scone, wouldn't it? A good 2.5, 3 hours out, but on a nice big track.
Yeah.
But and again, where the facilities are okay, but you're a long way from anything.
And after that, back to Flemington on Saturday. Just can't
Look
wait.
at it.
Yeah.
And look at I'll rope Mick Goody there. We'll do a little video this week.
He loves talking to us.
He loves it. He's the best, Nick.
He loves talking to us.
He's the best.
All right, punters. Head to 1 to follow to grab my AFL stuff. Punters plays. Punters full